What is the influence of the Bitcoin in United States of America's economy? To understand and answer this question, we must first dive into what is a Bitcoin, where does it come from, and a little bit of its history as a digital currency. So Bitcoin is a digital currency. In other words, it is a form of payment through the online medium, and it is accounted for and transferred through computers. Bitcoin specifically has a form of uh, transferring and payment through computers called blockchain technology, and is basically a public record. It's a ledger that's public to everyone who uses Bitcoin that has an interconnection of transactions. It also has the very key feature of being secure. So, just like an email was the Internet of Information, Bitcoin and its blockchain of technology is the Internet of Money. So, pop quiz. Of these two men, which one is Satoshi Nakamoto? If you guessed bottom or the top, there's a 0% chance you were right. Actually, Satoshi Nakamoto was the anonymous cryptographer who created the Bitcoin. It is important to note that he created it from a paper research and launched the source code in 2009, where, as he described its purpose to be for consumers to perform peer-to-peer transactions without the third-party involvement of the financial institutions. So now that we know a little bit of what is a Bitcoin and who created it, we'll pay attention a little bit to its currency valuation and who is uh, paying attention to it. In other words, who is part of the Bitcoin bandwagon. So let's pay attention to who jumps to the bandwagon as we analyze Bitcoin's timeline and behavior as a currency. And to do that, we will use what Barry Silbert, founder of Second Market, a Bitcoin investment trust, calls his 5 phases. First, it all starts with the 2008 financial crisis. It's important to remember that the Bitcoin was a direct response to the lack of trust towards the financial institutions. Second phase was when the Bitcoin rose from $1 parity of the dollar to $30 in the summer of 2011. This is when entrepreneurs like Barry Silver started catching eyes towards Bitcoin and created companies that allowed people, regular people and institutions to buy and sell. What do WhatsApp, GoPro, and Grubhub have in common? Something called venture capitalist backing. This basically means that a firm with a lot of money gave the CEO of WhatsApp money to create WhatsApp. And WhatsApp paid these people back with a few interests of return. Thanks to venture capitalists, WhatsApp, GoPro, and Grubhub are successful companies today, and produce the products and services they give us, consumers, in the American economy. Bitcoin, similarly, began having venture capitalists invest in companies that wanted to buy and sell the Bitcoin to the consumers and institutions. Phase 4 is debatably began in 2014, where Barry Silver um, predicted that Wall Street investments would be found, and has been prolonged until today. So, in the year 2014, researchers in Wall Street began writing reports, and what Barry Silbert called an effort to finding a new leader of Bitcoin thought was being sought out for. Phase 5, according to Barry Silbert, is a mass consumer adoption, meaning that you and I would adopt Bitcoin as a mean to pay for our Starbucks coffee this morning or our Uber to class. It's important to know who jumped the bandwagon. First, individuals, Satoshi Nakamoto, and early followers were the praisers of Bitcoin. Second, venture capitalists and Wall Street, which is ongoing today still, are debating over Bitcoin's legitimacy. And third, mass consumers, all of the United States of America's economy. So, knowing who jumped the Bitcoin bandwagon helps us see Bitcoin's historical prices. So, these numbers are here to demonstrate to us a little bit of where does Bitcoin's value come from. Summarized in one quote, Adam Smith, the economist, said, "All money is a matter of belief." Understanding Bitcoin's history, value, creation, and the meaning of digital currency, we can now analyze Bitcoin's major influences in America's economy yesterday, today, and tomorrow. One key phrase to remember about the Bitcoin is its blockchain technology. According to Satoshi Nakamoto and his paper, he proposed, as a direct response to the 2008 financial crisis, the solution is needed as an electronic payment system based on cryptographic proof instead of trust, allowing any two willing parties to transact directly with each other without the need for a trusted third party. Summarized in a picture, we can see that Satoshi Nakamoto's description of his digital currency is most accurately presented in the right side of the image, the decentralized form of connections, where the peer-to-peer payment system is at its best display, as opposed to today's structured, the Federal Reserve System of the United States of America, where the most important decisions, such as monetary policy, are controlled by the core, the Fed, and its regional governors, therefore making it a centralized form of banking. One phrase to describe Bitcoin's yesterday or past is a rough start. This because Bitcoin was not trusted in the beginning because of events that allowed for the distrust in the consumers of the American economy. Volatility affected by individual and state platforms, such as tweets from Mark Cuban attacking the Bitcoin, calling it a bubble, and even China banning Bitcoin exchanges from buying and selling Bitcoins caused the simple average movement of the Bitcoin price to drop. For example, in June 2018, Mark Cuban's tweet made the price fall from $2,976.48 to $2,750.66 in the Bitcoin intraday chart, according to CNBC. Although China also created a similar impact, Bitcoin jumped back up and rebounded from Mark Cuban's tweets and China's banning because of its highlight in the decentralization of its platform. Or in other words, volatility is simply unpredictable. Another event was the Silk Road in 2014. The Silk Road was described by FBI agent Christopher Tarbell, telling USA Today, as the most sophisticated darknet cybercriminal marketplace discovered up to date, with sales of up to $1.2 billion in cocaine, fake passports, illegal service providers like hitmen and computer hackers. And finally, although the blockchain technology is invulnerable, the actual Bitcoin storage is not. Examples of this is Mt. Gox and Bitfinex hacks that happened, where a total of over $500 million and 850,000 plus Bitcoins were stolen through hacks of the company's systems, according to Business Insider. Bitcoin today is found in Barry Silbert's Phase 4. Users who have accepted Bitcoin to provide services, according to CoinDesk, a digital currency news outlet, include Microsoft, Bloomberg, Gap, and Intuit. Because of SEC's denial of 2 Bitcoin exchange trade funds in the last 2 years, one being from the Winklevoss twins, there has been struggle in Bitcoin today to find legitimacy as a currency. As we've read in class with Francis Fukuyama, it's important for a state government to gain legitimacy from the population in order for its government to act as a state, to create political goods for the people. Just like a government, a currency must also have popular belief to gain its own legitimacy as a medium of exchange. One more example of propositions being handed out today for Bitcoin's efforts to become a current digital currency is found in the Chicago Securities Exchange, one of the largest securities exchanges in the United States, where it is in talks to open a futures contract for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin tomorrow has been divided into 2 parts, one being more sure of happening, and part 2 being more speculative. In the more sure part of Bitcoin's tomorrow, we have 2 ideas the first coming from Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, where Bill Gates, in an interview with Bloomberg, described his philanthropy efforts of banking the unbanked, inspired by Bitcoin's technology, and even M-Pesa in Kenya, which is the state's new form of payment processing, where text messages are equal to currency now, with codes being sent, locked, and unlocked by the sender and receiver of the text message. Ethereum is an inspiration from Bitcoin that has an open-ended blockchain technology that is not only used to process payments as the Bitcoin uses the blockchain technology, but rather also stores structured information, meaning that it can store marriage licenses, transactions, land titles, emails, and even light bills, plus the added feature of all of this information being bought or sold through digital currency as well. Therefore, bringing the idea further of having the Internet of Information in the old innovation of email complemented with the Internet of Money today. The Bitcoin of Tomorrow Part 2 provides a little bit more of speculation. The first idea that comes up is, will it ever serve as a state-backed medium of exchange? This question will be answered once the debate of Bitcoin being a currency or a commodity is answered by government institution. John McAfee, the CEO of the first antivirus program, once was quoted in an interview how Bitcoin is the next biggest invention after agriculture. For this research, his comments were cross-referenced to a Wall Street Journal group interview with Mark T. Williams, executive in residence with the Boston University School of Management, which said that in order for a currency to pass a test, it must have stability, it must be trusted as a medium of exchange, and if it's liquid. For a commodity, which Mark T. Williams argues that Bitcoin falls more into place, the definition of a commodity is something that's mined, stored, processed, resold in the marketplace, and is scarce. Bitcoin having more values in the commodity, which has been compared as gold before, because Bitcoins are mined, stored, processed, and resold, just as gold is mined, stored, processed, and resold in the marketplace, coupled with being scarce, prevents it from experts such as Mark T. Williams to accept it as a currency with more characteristics of it being a commodity. Scholars have also debated whether Bitcoin is a bubble. CEO of JP Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon, called it a fraud and used the blockchain technology as an example for tomorrow's financial future and process payments. Bitcoin has been compared to the tulip bubble of 1637, the dot-com bubble of 2000, the uranium bubble of 2007, and even the housing market crash of 2008. So in the end, why should I care about Bitcoin's future? The answer is found in one of the contemporary international problems readings we had this semester. It's a phrase called complete diplomat. Mr. Walt Steffen argues that domestic groups can distort the formation of state preferences and lead to suboptimal international behavior. In addition, how domestic institutions can help states deal with the perennial problem of uncertainty. The complete diplomat of the future should remain cognizant of realism's emphasis on the inescapable role of power, keep liberalism's awareness of domestic forces in mind, and occasionally reflect on constructivism's vision of change. Bitcoin, in conclusion, from this research is a domestic institution that is providing a state with a level of uncertainty, but also a preference for its financial dealings. Although it is not an emphasis on realism, it does have a representation of liberal awareness with domestic forces in mind, and a constructivist vision of change that challenges America's economy based on the Federal Reserve System.